Here's Terry.
We've all tried to shape up others. I don't know about you, but it's never worked for me. And I've used about every tool or technique known to man to try and get other people to change. And we want to look today at why it is that we want to get other people to change and some of the upset that it causes us when we're trying to change people and what we're going to do about it. And what I want you to do with me is to, because we're in a more intimate setting today, so I want you to relax and I want you to be very open because I'm going to ask you to look into yourself maybe more today than you normally do. And what I want you to look at is to look at all the ways that you try and shape up people. Now, what I've done is I've cried, I've yelled, and I know I'm admitting what I've done, and I may do sometimes. I'm not saying that I totally, have this all taken care of all the time, that I always live in the Christ consciousness, and I always live in my oneness with God. I live there more than I ever lived by practicing these principles. And these are the only principles that I have to deal with. That Jesus is teaching are really all that I have to deal with. And at the same time that as I deal with those principles, they are universal principles. And they may be taught in other religions or you may hear them from other people. So it doesn't mean that only Jesus had a corner on the truth. But for me, he's the one that taught me the lesson, and he's the one that, for me, shows me the way. So anyway, what I do is I'm constantly, looking at my own life and seeing how can I be more loving? How can I experience more of God's love? And how can I be more of who I am? And so along the way, when we have been led to believe that other people are responsible for our lives and that other people are the ones who give to us and other people are the ones that we get our love from and other people are the ones who are going to make us feel okay about ourselves, then what our lives are about are directing our energy to other people, trying to get their approval, trying to shape them up, trying to get them to love us. Actually, what we tend to do is try and heal the past in our present relationships. So what we do is we recreate the past in the present, hoping that it's going to turn out differently than it did in the past, and it never does. Because what we're doing is we're still holding on to a belief or an idea that we are not whole and complete unto ourselves and forgetting that God is our source. So what we want to look at today is how we can take a major step in actually separating ourselves from that habit pattern that exists in our lives, has existed on this planet since the beginning of time, and is the very thing that creates the wars between countries, the wars between families, that creates the upset in life. And then people at the very last or tail end of the upset or the disagreement, in utter frustration of trying to shape up other people, we get to war, or we get to bullets, or we get to knives. We get to actually destruction of a physical body, thinking that that physical body of that other person somehow holds something for us. When the truth is that we're all spirit, and that we're all love, and that you cannot destroy spirit. You cannot die. You were never born. You cannot die. You are an eternal being, and that God is the source. So what it is that the joy and the happiness and the love that you want today, you already have. See, you already have. I have it. Now, I have to keep remembering that. And the more I remember that, the more I have that. And so what we're all doing together is we're going back to the Father's house, and we go back step by step. But today we want to take a major step by causing a major shift in the way we see ourselves and the way we see life. Now, sometimes that's uncomfortable, you see, because when you shift your importances, when you shift, take a shift in what's valuable to you and the way you've lived your life, sometimes you don't know how to operate. That when it's no longer important to you to get love from another, when it's no longer important to you as to what other people think, and it's no longer important to you as to get other people's approval and for you to get something from others, you will notice how much of your life is lived that way. So then you wonder, how am I going to operate when I'm not living that way? My motivation, even in my job, is to get better. Or my motivation, even with my physical body, is to make sure that I exercise so I have a physical body that is going to please someone, where in the past I didn't feel that my body pleased anyone. Maybe I was born a girl and I thought my parents wanted a boy. So I think, what's wrong with my body? You know, if I change my body or, you know, make my body thinner or firmer or more beautiful, I'm going to have more people love me. So instead of just exercising because exercise works to allow more energy to source through you and more vitality and more joy and more being, you're actually exercising to be a more appealing body so that you can get the attention and love of a body to heal a past relationship where you thought your body wasn't okay. Now, you staying with me. So that what we tend to do is we use relationships in an evil way. Now, that doesn't mean that we are evil, but basically what evil is that we have judged ourselves sinful. We have judged ourselves wrong. We have judged ourselves as inadequate. And there is a little thought that we have about ourselves right before we judge another person, right before we judge another person as evil. And the thought that we have is that we are not okay. An evil thought is one that says, I hate myself. I am not acceptable. I'm not valuable. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthwhile. There's something wrong with me. So what I'm going to do, because somewhere in my past I got the idea that I wasn't okay, then what I'm going to do is in my present relationships, try and heal the hurt of the past in the present. You will never heal the hurt of the past in the present. You can never do that, and it will never work. All it leads to is more hurt. So what you're going to have to do to have the shift with me today in your own awareness and in the way you see yourself and see life is you're going to have to see what it cost you. You see, what it cost you, what you've done, you know, and all the ways you've tried to shape up other people. So if you shape them up, you're going to have the experience of being valuable, lovable, worthwhile. You're not going to be irritated with you. You're not going to be separated from your own good or your own oneness with God. So you're going to have to see, first of all, that it doesn't work to try and shape up others.